It's the Eagle Community Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi everyone, I'm Gary Shorman and this is the Forum on Eagle Television. It's good to have you watching along. Our forum is brought to you by Hayes Med. Our guest, you probably know her, Holly Dickman, who used to be a county extension agent, now is involved with water conservation as the Hayes Water Conservation Specialist. Good to have you on our program, Holly.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Talk a little bit about, you came from another job that really conservation was involved as well. Tell me a little bit about your transition from that job to this one.
Well, as an extension agent for 10 and a half years, water was a big focus of my work in extension. And so the transition to water conservation specialist isn't as difficult as maybe it could have been otherwise, because I did focus on water conservation, more so in the home landscape, obviously, than anything else. But, you know, it was always the focus of my work, and now it's really the focus of my work. So,
well, you're so far out in front, a lot of people talking about that. I bet you still get questions involving plants and all that other stuff, don't you?
I do. For the
You may not ever get rid of that job.
And that's okay. I enjoy answering those questions. But for the first month or two, I had a question at least one or two a day when I was just starting with this new position. So that's okay.
Well, it's good to have you here because part of the things, and we talked a little bit about for the program, about some of those things that really overlap quite a bit. Conservation of water in Ellis County, specifically the city of Hayes, that's a never-ending effort to save water, save and be more efficient, correct?
Right, we are.
Is there an end in sight, never an end in sight?
You know, I don't think so. I mean, it's always a good idea to conserve water wherever you are, even if you have ample water. Unfortunately, we do not have an ample amount of water. So we have to be very cautious about our water usage and just make sure that we're using things as efficiently as we can. Even if in the future we have more sources available to us, water conservation is still going to be in the forefront. We need to be conscious about how we use that water, use it the best way possible, whether there's water there or not. Water conservation helps in many ways, whether it's the cost of, you know, sewage treatment, water treatment, all of those things. Water conservation helps to play into some of those things as well.
One of the things that's really amazing is the amount of water we use in the city.
Right.
I mean, you know, each of us at our homes uses a little bit, but you add that by the number of homes here. Does your job start with the water coming into the home, or where does your job start and stop? Because you talked about the sewage plant and the output side of that. Where does it start and stop?
I work for the Department of Water Resources, so we have an area for each of those areas. My job mainly consists of water conservation, education, and outreach. So educating people on the best ways to conserve water, doing some research on different ways that the city could conserve water, just trying to get the word out and make it in the forefront of people's minds that water conservation is a big, important topic here in the city.
So you're a cheerleader for water conservation.
I am.
All right, well, let's start cheering that, because when you look around the state, how does Hayes compare to other communities as far as water conservation?
We are the leaders. We have been that way for many years, and I hear Toby Doherty say this quite a bit, and that's because we have to be. You know, we have to conserve our water. We don't have that ample source where it's just unlimited, and so we do need to go ahead and try to conserve. So really, Hayes is a leader. And one example of that is the Kansas Water Office just chose us to be the first site for one of their regional field days. And they chose Hayes because we are such a good example, and we've already done so many great things to conserve water here in the city. So per capita usage, we're right at the very lowest in the state.
Why is that? I mean, what are the things that we have done? And then we'll talk about some of the programs that you have that you're working on.
Well, you know, I think drought and severe conditions lead to change. And so back in the 90s, early 90s, back when the concern was very great as far as our water supplies go, there were some things put into place like the water restrictions during the summer months, you know, being able to be ticketed for wasting water within the city of Hayes. Those were huge. And then also just it's very in the minds of the people that live here, I think, that, you know, don't waste water. You hear that from citizens across town. They want to conserve water. I know in my former role, talking with homeowners about their lawns and their landscapes, that was a topic of discussion many, many times. having those warm season turf grass lawns. That's more common here, I think, than in some of the other towns that maybe aren't as concerned about water conservation. And so it's just the culture. I mean, it's a culture change, I guess, to get to that point, and we're there, I think.
Well, we're there, and you have some other really good programs. You talk about people that are coming into town, what they do, how they look at things. Tell me about some of the programs that are there right now.
Right. Well, with the City of Hayes, that's another real progressive thing. We have several rebate programs to encourage water conservation. So you have a toilet rebate for high efficiency toilets or low gallon per flush toilets. I'm learning all about that stuff right now because that wasn't in my background. But, so there's a rebate for that. There's also a rebate for high efficiency washing machines. There's also a rebate for urinals in commercial settings. And there's also a turf conversion rebate, which just started a few years back. So that's really unique for this side of the Rockies and north of Texas, really. So you just don't hear about turf conversion programs
Which
in
means
other
basically
areas.
if you have one of a lawn that takes a lot of water, you can convert that and the city helps pay some of that. Not all of it,
Right.
but helps pay for some of the costs.
Right.
involved with it.
Currently, the program is if you have a maintained cool season turf grass, so we're talking Kentucky bluegrass or tall fescue, and it's irrigated and you want to convert it to warm season turf grass or xeriscaping, you can get $1 per square foot back up to $1,000. So that's the current rebate. Since I've started, we're kind of reevaluating some things and looking at some things. So things may change a little bit, but as of now, that's how the rebates are.
And you mentioned washer and dryer. We were talking, I think we had one of those. I'm not sure we picked up our rebate. We probably should be saying, hey, we got a new washer and dryer. It's high efficiency. What is the rebate on that one? And the toilet, same way. It doesn't pay for everything, but it does pay for part of the cost.
Right. On the washing machines, it's a $100 rebate, which on those high efficiency washing machines, that may not seem like a big rebate back, but it's still $100.
Yeah.
And so on the toilets, actually, if you get the most efficient toilet on the market right now, which is a 0.8 gallon per flush toilet, depending on where that toilet is purchased, it will essentially pay for the toilet. It's a $150 rebate. So that's been the most popular one by far since
Did you
I
take a
started my job.
special class on high flush and low flush toilets?
No, I have not yet, but I have learned a lot in the last few months on toilets.
Now, you remember when you do this, it's the cheerleading aspect of at how you do that. What is your job? Do you go out and speak to groups? Do you do programs obviously like this and some others that tell the story?
So that's where the overlap with Extension is really there, because I do a lot of outreach, programs like this, talking to small groups, civic groups, things like that, but also media, radio ads, develop those, and social media. We're starting to get more into that. Just different ways. Any way we can get the word out about water conservation in the City of Hayes, that's part of my job.
One of the things I know you're doing some radio ads where I've listened to those, and it just is that constant reminder of we need to save water in our community.
Right.
So
yeah, and there's so many different ways to do it. It doesn't have to be difficult. It can be as simple as watering your tree the right way, not going out every day and just putting a little bit of water on, but soaking it really deeply and letting those things dry out before you go back and water again. Just making the most efficient use of that water.
where does somebody like you go to get more information on this stuff? Because, if we're leading the state in being able to save water, where do you go to find new ideas and what to do?
It's a good question. I've spent a lot of time researching here lately to get up to speed on some of those things. And there are so many cities out west that are just very great at their educational efforts with water conservation. So you get a lot of ideas from some of those other water departments or cities, municipalities, but also some of the universities. Texas A&M has a really great website called What Are You Doing? And so there's different sites out there, but really a lot of it comes back to previous knowledge, especially with the landscape stuff. I mean, I did talk about water conservation all the time, and K-State always promoted that as well. So, a lot of it's not new. It's, I guess, what you call maybe common sense type information, but it's just good to remind people about the best practices.
Very good. Holly, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. I want to talk about some of the goals that you have,
Okay.
some of the things you have looking forward as we look at conserving water in 2018 as well. Take a break. We'll be right back. Holly Dickman has been our guest here on the forum. Back with more after this.
Hayes Med is your first and best choice for healthcare. They're the only facility providing tertiary level services in this region. With more than 70 physicians and 26 specialties ranging from heart, orthopedic, spine care, cancer, obstetrics and gynecology, wound care, rehabilitation and surgery, including the Da Vinci robotic surgery, Hayes Med is your comprehensive health provider for people throughout Western Kansas. Hayes Med, helping people be healthy.
Are you frustrated with Wi-Fi dead zones in your home? It happens when you don't have Boost, the cutting-edge Wi-Fi solution from Eagle Communications. A Boost-certified Eagle technician maps your home, then installs a dual-band modem and router, plus discrete access points to deliver wall-to-wall Wi-Fi with no dead zones. Boost powers all your family's devices in all the places you love to live. Get Boost. Wi-Fi made simple. Only from Eagle Communications. Call today.
Welcome back to the second half of our forum here on Eagle Television. If you have any questions, thoughts, ideas, something that you might or someone you might like to have on this show, send me a note, gary.shorman@eaglecom.net. You can also go on Facebook and find us under ECTV Forum. ECTV Forum. Holly Dickman is our guest here on the forum. She's the Hayes Water Conservation Specialist, new at her job since July 24th, right?
That's correct.
Taking over and looking for ways that we can conserve water, including a great little brochure right here that talks about water conservation. A couple things I noticed on this, Holly. What's a water sense partner from the EPA? What does that mean?
Well, the EPA has a program called Water Sense. And so if you're out shopping for a toilet or a high efficiency washing machine, you might see the Water Sense logo on there. And that means that that has been a part of that program that's proven to be high efficiency and really saves water after.
Kind of a little green and blue leaf that's hooked up here and doing that.
And so to be a partner with them means that we have the capability to use their resources. So they have some great promotional information as far as, flyers and Facebook ads and some of those types of educational outreach type things that are part of my job now, and we have the ability to use their information and be a partner with them, and it's a nice partnership to have.
Well, they have a lot of things listed here, that everything from using rain barrels to mulching trees. You mentioned how you do that. There's several ideas in here. If nothing else, if you have a leaky toilet,
right,
that's the worst thing. Even if it's a little leak, it takes hundreds, if not thousands, of gallons of water.
And that's one of those things that you may never notice, really, but there's a really easy tip to check for that. Well, you can get a dye tab from me to throw into the tank, and if you see color in the tank, in the bowl, then you know you have a leak or a problem. But if you don't want to come and get one of those from me, you can always use a little drop of food coloring, and it does the same exact thing. You drop it in the tank. If you see color in the bowl, that means you have a leak, and so you need to have something done because it's wasting water and costing you money.
Good idea right there, and that's some of the things you can find out. If you go online, tell me about your website.
So the water conservation pages are on the hazesusa.com website right now. And once again, we're looking at those right now. They may change a little bit, but still that's where all the information about the rebates are. So hazesusa.com, you can find that information. You can find my contact information if you want to contact me and talk to me directly, ask me some questions.
Or come and have you speak to your group.
Right,
Because
yes.
many groups, large, small, whatever, are looking for people to talk about how they do something. I think you'd be more than willing to go out and talk to their group about doing that as well.
And I did that in the past as an extension agent, and I'm more than happy to do that, talking a little bit different topics, but some the same.
You have a phone number here, 785-628-7350. That's the city office, and they can find you there?
That is the Public Works building, and that's where my office is located. So yes, they can find me in that office.
I know one of the things we talked about earlier, I get in the shower and I'm probably too long in the shower. What are your recommendations for guys like me or people like me that like to take a longer shower? What's that about?
The goal is to take shorter showers.
Which would be 5 minutes?
With a low flow shower head. Yes, 5 minutes is the recommendation. So we do have shower timers. If you really want to keep an eye on that, you can get a shower timer from me.
I'm going to let Brandon try the shower timer first and see how that works.
I always think it's easier for guys when they don't have long hair like a lot of women do. But yeah, 5 minutes is generally the recommendation for a ideal shower.
All right. Well, Holly has some great ideas, whether it be in this brochure or otherwise. If you want to give her a call, she'd be happy to talk to your group and tell the story about water conservation. Goals for next year. You're new at this. You're looking for some new ideas. Maybe anything you have in place for 2018 you're thinking about?
Well, you know, I'm kind of in the planning stages right now. So thinking about a lot of different things. We're talking about possibly getting a upgraded website for the water department, specifically to focus on some of those types of things. So we'll see. Hopefully that will take place. More social media, you know, that's kind of where it is these days. And so that's another goal of mine. But also just getting the word out there. More events, more programs, trying to promote water conservation in a various arenas, I guess you could say. If people are there, I hope we can be there to promote water conservation.
Holly, good to have you on our program
Thank
today.
you.
Holly Dixon is the guest and forum today. She is a Hayes Water Conservation Specialist. Thank you for being here, Holly.
Thank you.
Program is brought to you by Hayes Med and by Eagle Communications, our community connected.
It's a beautiful day in our super high-speed internet great customer service neighborhood. Like you, this is where we live. In fact, our company is employee-owned, so it's our goal to improve the quality of life for everyone in our community by delivering faster, more reliable internet, clearer, more feature-laden phone service, quality TV channels, all with the level of customer service you'd expect from people who are your neighbors. Eagle Communications, our community connected.